So you're building an app. How do you know what whether you're gonna use React Native or React? How do you figure out what you're gonna use?
Like the programming language or the framework?
Yeah, everything.
How do I figure out everything? Well, actually, I guess it depends on what I need to do from a project. Like there's some things where like React Native is awful for, and it just wouldn't make sense to use it. Like one thing that pops to mind, if I was like building something like Snapchat, where all I'm doing is doing like a ton of filters and stuff, I would have like a hard time doing a lot of it in React Native. Like you're probably just going to be needing a lot of native libraries. Oh, fuck. Oh, you know what? We'll keep it going. We'll see at the end if this is keepable. But yeah, you're gonna be doing Android and iOS stuff or Swift stuff to like get the filters, do all the image stuff, where it's like you're barely using any React Native, so why are you even choosing React Native is probably what's gonna happen. And this is a bad trail to walk on. We're just running into trees. Anyway, I guess let's just loop around. Let's go this way. Let's go back this way. Yeah, let's go back this way. Alright, yeah. So like React Native would be like not what I would choose. But then I also am not willing to write a project in Android or Swift because like it just sucks compared to React Native. Like I enjoy building layouts and like coding in that way more than I do when I was building an Android app. So I actually would just like not choose a project that needed those requirements, or I would shape my project in a way that it would work well with React Native. So like I know what projects work well with React Native and what don't, or like choosing React and not, but I would probably only choose to make a project that does well with those languages because, well, I just dislike doing the other stuff. So it's like, I don't want to do it. But I mean, how I choose is like, if I had no idea whether React Native or React was a good choice, I could also just Google. Or I could ask myself, what's the hardest thing I'm like trying to solve? Like if I'm doing a project like Snapchat, I'm like, what's the hardest thing with Snapchat? And first thing that comes to mind is probably like the filters and the VR stuff and all that jazz. And like that's hard as heck. So I want to pick a framework or something that makes the hard parts easier. So I think that's like the main thing that I look at when I'm choosing something. But also like if I'm doing a website, I'm almost gonna pick React almost every single time, unless I guess I'm building like maybe a game or something. I wouldn't choose React for a website, but that's mostly because I'm comfortable with it. Rather, it's like the best choice everywhere. So I guess I honestly kind of just do comfort picks for projects, unless the comfort pick is just like an awful choice, and then I'll just learn something new.
Do you ever change what framework you're using depending on if new requirements are added to a project?
I guess I wouldn't change the entire framework, but for example, if I was doing a website, this is a little easier to do, where if React was just a terrible choice for some reason, you could just not build the page in React, and you could use React and, for example, just vanilla JavaScript together. And I think that's a totally viable option. And like you can do the same thing with React Native, whereas like if this particular feature in the app is not well suited for React Native, all you do is you just go to the native layer, build it out in Android, build it out in Swift, and you're fine to do that. But like, you know, you could also do the same thing on server side now that I think of it. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Is like, let's say I'm building out a server and it's in Node or something, and then I get to a point where like I really need this API that's written in C++ or something. Someone was asking me about Tesseract, which is I think it has something about analyzing the text, like not text to speech. You take a picture or something. OCR, that's what it's called. And I don't think there's a node bindings to it, or if there is, I couldn't find one. And I was like, well, if I wanted to use that library, what I would do is I would actually just stick it in a serverless function. Now it's so easy. Yeah, let's go down this path. So I was like, instead of trying to, like, it's actually pretty easy now if you need to use like a different framework or different language for part of your project, you can. You just stick in a serverless function, and then you can call that. Actually, I don't even know if Lambdas you can use C++. Now I think of it, I don't know if Tesseract is built with C++. And it's a rocky path. But yeah, I mean that's the only thing I would do. I probably wouldn't switch my entire framework for a project in the middle. I might just transition some different pages using different stuff. But also, if I was doing a project for learning, if I found a different framework that I liked better or that I feel like fit it better, I would actually do it entirely over again.